Hi there, RHB Nation. You know, this past weekend I was in a coffee shop and I couldn't help but notice this. Looked like to be a grandfather sitting across from his daughter or his daughter-in-law. And she had a little girl on her lap. And just by the look on his face, you could tell he was really proud of his little granddaughter. And it got me thinking about 5 years ago. I was giving a talk for a large company, and a gentleman came up to me afterwards. He was about in his mid-50s, and he said, "Did you see me sitting at the back of the room?" I said, "Yeah, you had your arms crossed, you had a big frown on your face." And he laughed and he said, "Yeah, attendance is mandatory for this thing. The CEO told us everybody had to come." And he said, "I got better things to do, list some motivational speaker." He said, "But you got me laughing, and then you got me thinking." He said, "And now I have a question for you." I said, "Sure." He said, "I'm finding I'm shifting back to first gear, and I'm getting cynical, and I don't like to be that way, but everything seems to be just negative all the time." He said, "How do you stop being cynical?" I said, "Short answer?" He said, "Sure." I said, "Hang around uncynical people." I said, "Do you have any grandchildren?" He goes, "Yeah." He said, "I have a grandson." His face lit up. He said, "I love spending time with him." I said, "Why?" He said, "He's always asked me questions. Papa, why is the sky blue? Papa, look at that tree." He said, "Everything's kind of new and exciting." I said, "Yeah, that's because he's not cynical." I said, "And you're like the center of knowledge to him." And I said, "That's very flattering, and it keeps you young, right?" And he said, "Yeah." I said, "So think about who you're hanging out with in the company, because, you know, first gear attracts other first gear behavior. And maybe think about giving back to the company, mentoring a new employee, or giving up some of your knowledge and wisdom to other people in the company." Because I said, at the end of the day, if you don't want to be in first gear, you don't want to be cynical, hang around uncynical people. Thanks a lot, RHBs.